Hello guys, and welcome back out to my shop. Today we are going to be looking at some more hand planes. Got the sharpening stone already in some water so we can get this plane nice and sharp. Now I get a lot of planes that come in and out of the shop, and most of them are pretty dirty and well dusted, not cleaned up or anything. But this one I got, and it was in immaculate condition already. It does need the iron still sharpened, but it's like somebody kind of cleaned it up and went ahead and just sprayed it with some lacquer. You guys can see how shiny it is. So all the metal feels like it's had lacquer sprayed all over it. And the sad thing about this is that there is absolutely no maker's mark on there, which is not a big deal. But usually I don't keep hand planes that don't have a maker's mark on them. And this one is interesting enough. You guys can see it's got two irons, that I'm going to be keeping this one. So what this one is a ton and groove hand plane. It's got the grooving side and also the ton side to make a match set. So you don't really have to worry about trying to find two that are identical. So I haven't played with this at all. I haven't taken it apart yet or anything. But as you can see, there are two different irons in this. And let's see if we can pop this out real quick. The ton side was sitting extremely low. And there is a print on the iron. Maybe we'll be able to figure out. Maybe it is some kind of maker, at least for the blacksmith portion, maybe, or whoever made the actual irons. This grooving one does not have a mark on it that I can see right away, but this one definitely does. I don't know if you guys can be able to see it. You guys might be able to see it right in here. I don't know what it says yet. Oh, it's just something cast steel. I don't know what ANTES cast steel. Not familiar with it. There's no other markings on there, so this is probably just a generic type of deal. But this is not just like a bar, it's actually the part to make the groove. And you can tell because there is a little slot in the back of the iron. And what that does is it actually rides on the plate back here. And that's where it keeps the iron centered so that when you're doing your groove, it doesn't flex one way or the other. It sets right snug up against that little piece right there, and it gets that extra support in that area. So these don't need a lot of cleaning, which is awesome. I do need to go ahead and throw them. I'm going to get them on the 3000 part of the stone real quick. One thing about this is that, where is it at? It is split right here, which is disappointing. But all of it is still there, so we can throw some glue in there, and then we can create a ton, I believe, and it should match this gap, I would think, I'm assuming. And maybe we can wedge it in there, and then we can act it as a sort of a clamp. So let's get these irons sharpened up real quick. On the very top, and I'm going to just start with this one real quick. I'm just going to take a few strokes with this and try to clean up that backside a little bit. Like Alright, so with the 1000 grit, we were able to clean up most of that back right along the edge. And now we're working on the actual cutter side. And that's cleaning up pretty good. We're going to go a few more passes with it. I thought I was gonna be able to get away with just a quick 3,000 grit sharpening, but that's not gonna work. Looks pretty good. Alright, now we can flip it back over to the 3,000 and we should be able to finish it up now on this real quick. Get this a little bit wet. And then we'll go back on the back side again, polish that up real quick, and then we'll go back to the iron or the cutting edge. Alright, so we'll put that down and then we'll go ahead. I wonder if I can get away with this one. I don't want to take too much off the backside on this because that's its reference point, or like what it rests on. And these usually tend to stay a lot sharper or easier to cut through the wood just because it's so narrow. Let's see what that does. Now I'm gonna have to do the 1,000 grit first. So we got our pad right here, and we got our green stuff, the green compound, and from what I've read online and stuff, it's not really how much you put on, it's about how quickly you can like kind of put it on there, and it's supposed to kind of heat it up and burn it, I guess, into that leather. And it's better than just rubbing it slowly on there. And so now we'll go ahead and take our irons. So that one definitely looks a lot more polished. I don't know if you guys can see that. You guys see how much more polished that looks? It's just got more surface area, so it's more noticeable. So we'll go ahead and throw these back in the plane and we'll try it out. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and try to make a quick ton on this piece of pine. And we'll see how well this performs. It is definitely taking a heavy cut, that's for sure. Go ahead and try to reset that iron so it's not taking such a heavy cut. There we go. This is a nicer shaving on that one, but I feel like they're still kind of heavy, but when I had it a little bit lighter, the iron was trying to pop out backwards because of that wedge. So I'm still kind of getting a thicker shaving, but it's not as heavy as the first go round. Alright, so there we go. There's our ton that we made. Now this is just in a piece of pine, so it has a little bit of tearing, but overall it looks good. I like it. I feel like I can get a better shaving if I go ahead and sand down some of that wedge so that it takes off some of that finish that's on there. But let's go ahead and spin it around and we'll try out the grooving side. Now as you can see, the grooving iron is quite a bit shorter here, so I'm gonna have to get a little bit different hammer so I can get in there and tap this down a little bit. But we'll go ahead and try this out and see what we can do for that groove. So I was finally able to get this to peek a little bit through on the bottom side, Let's go ahead and take a few shavings. And this cut's very nice, very smooth. And it is taking a bit heavier of a shaving, but that's all right. So just for fun, I went ahead and ripped the two pieces down. I wanted to see how close they were to matching up with each other. And I don't even know what size this is. I think it's like a 3/16, maybe. And these things fit perfect into each other. It's like they were meant to be a matched pair. So the only thing about this side is I did not go deep enough in there. I didn't hit the depth stop on this side. So if I kept on going, I would have hit the depth stop. And then there wouldn't have probably been any gap whatsoever. But that is very cool. So a place that you guys would probably be able to use this is, let's say, some kind of sliding lid. You guys could actually use this and say this was the lid and this is your box. If you wanted to, you'd be able to slide it back and forth. And after working it back and forth some, you'd or putting wax in there, it would slide very easily. That's one thing that I could see this being used for. If you guys have other ideas, that's the only one for some reason I can think of off the top of my head. Is like a some kind of lid or something like that. But this is a matched set in some sorts of a ton and groove plane, which is very cool. So one thing that I'm still going to be doing is putting a little bit of glue in on this one end right here. I guess you would call it the toe heel. The toe of the ton side and the heel of the grooving side. So that this dries up and it stays nice and open because it kind of flops in towards that groove right there, and we don't want that. We want to make sure that it stays nice and open so it doesn't get damaged. Thanks guys for joining me today on this quick video on exploring this ton and groove plane. This is the first one that I have ever encountered in my shop, and whenever I think I bought the entire hand plane lot just for this, if I can remember correctly, just because it was different. I was hoping that it was going to have some kind of markings on there, but it doesn't. But it's still very cool, and it's like a one-off piece that you don't see every day. I've never seen this in like an antique shop or anything like that, so this was a pretty cool little find. I don't know, maybe we can incorporate it into a future project. If you guys have any questions or comments, like always, leave them down in the section below. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys are new, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys on the next video.